My name is Jose Ignacio, and I did my bachelor's and master's studies at Delft University of Technology. In both cases, I did aerospace engineering, and in my master's, I specialized in control and simulation. Additionally, during my bachelor's, I had the opportunity of pursuing a minor in software design and data science, which in part sparked my current interest for computational intelligence and big data.
Why did you decide to move to the US? So essentially, why did you apply to the program?
So I wanted to be surrounded by a strong let's do attitude, as well as to understand firsthand what are the legal, economic, and incentives, infrastructures that have turned this region into what is today. Third one was networking. So getting to know all these professionals and ambitious people that aim at changing the world. And I knew that in part that here in San Francisco, as well in the Bay Area, they organize many networking events, for instance, with startups, as consulates, with which you can network with all these people. And the last one was culture. So the fourth reason is that I wanted to learn about American culture, how people in the US go about their daily life, and how they perceive the world around us. Basically, discover the US.
Now, can you tell me a bit more about the position itself? So where will you be working? What's your role? What will you be focusing on and for how long?
So currently, I'm working for the San Jose State University Research Foundation as a research scholar, collaborating with researchers here at NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View. I'm part of the Airspace Operations Lab, and our work is focused on the integration of new vehicles in the current airspace, be it drones, urban air mobility, or air taxis, high altitude, long endurance vehicles, balloons.
Describe your search to me, how you came across this position. So what was your approach? And yeah, how long did it take? I know you alluded to it a little bit, but it's been a bit of a long road.
Yeah, so I ended up applying to 15, 20 companies in the span of a bit more than a year. And my main approach was to send many emails and LinkedIn messages to people within these companies I was interested that had some connection with my education or my experience, be it that they studied at Dutch University, that they studied at TU Delft, or that they were Spanish or Dutch. In my opinion, where there is some kind of connection, it is easier to start the conversation and open up about your interests and ambitions. So after I managed to make the connection, tell a bit about my experience, sometimes they felt that they could share my profile and documents with the HR department or the recruited of that company.
And so what have you learned or like realized about the work culture in the US so far, if you compare it to back home?
So I would say two main points. The first one is that I think in the US there is more of a let's do it attitude that aim to get things well, to get something started, learn along the way, and apply the lessons learned. While in Europe, we used to take a step back and thoroughly analyze and plan the situation before taking any action. Um, of course, this doesn't apply to every single company, but as the experience I had so far, and I think both philosophies of both models have their advantages and disadvantages, so there should be a sweet spot.
And what have been the best parts so far of this entire experience?
Three things from my internship. The first one will be work. I mean, carrying out my work in collaboration with NASA is in part a dream come true for an aerospace engineer, and I get to meet and learn from top researchers every day. The second one would be networking. So getting to know a lot of ambitious people from all walks of life, be it at work, but also through friends and networking events that take place here in San Francisco and the Bay Area. And the last one would be everything that I do besides my job, which happens to be in the weekends, happens to be mostly nature.
And so how have you gone about networking and building your connections while you've been in the US? And what would your advice be for a candidate that's, yeah, just arrived here and wants to do the same?
So one of the first things I've done after arriving in the US have been to reach out to some of my friends that live in the region. And through then I've been able to get to know more people, make new friendships, and expand my network. Thanks to some of those new connections, for instance, I got invited to new events or discovered some networking opportunities. Another way in which I have grown my network has been by attending events organized by consulates of the European Union or their chambers of commerce in the Bay Area. And I think two more ways in which I've been able to grow my network, apart from my original one, my friends, and consulates, has been attending alumni events, be organized by TU Delft or Dutch universities here in the Bay Area, as well as going to events organized by Facebook groups such as Dutch people in the Bay Area or Spanish people in San Francisco. I would say it's very difficult that you already have a network here, and if that's the case, I would just, once you arrive here to the US, search what are the European consulates and look for what are the events organized, and just go to one of them, and you will see how open people are, how easy it is to network with fellow Europeans. And also, I think another really easy way for instance, Dutch nationals is to join, I think it's called Dutch in the Bay Area, Dutch in San Francisco. And yes, they organize sometimes bottles, drinks, they organize sometimes picnics. So it's very easy to get to know the Dutch community in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley.
What would you say are your points of focus when it comes to ensuring a successful visa process?
The main thing for the visa is to be 100% on top of it. Since people in the Bay Area are very busy, as I mentioned before, and there is a time difference of about 9 hours, the time between email replies with your employer could take about a week each time. So it is very important that the process is not further delayed from your end. And the second thing I would mention is that you should be very well organized from moment one, because you will receive loads of emails with very important information that you will not only use for the visa process for going to the U.S. consulate or embassy for instance, in the Netherlands, but you will need those documents during your stay here in the U.S.
So what would be your top piece of advice for future candidates?
So my top piece of advice, and that's, I guess, from my experience, is that first, I think you should have a deep conversation with yourself to understand the reasoning behind your wish to come to the US, in particular to Silicon Valley, whether that's really what you want and whether it is the right time in terms of family, your partner, your studies. And then if you are 100% convinced that it is what you want to do, you should go for it with all you got and be persistent in your search, because you will for sure rejected many times, but opportunities only come to those who persevere. In my case, it was 3 years ago, as I mentioned, when I came to visit some friends, when I was started to get interested in coming to Silicon Valley. In particular, I wanted to collaborate in a NASA project. Then I was accepted to internships in the Valley in 2021. And after 1 year of constant search, constant rejections, the opportunities came up. So it has been 3 years have passed between the moment I wanted to come to the Bay Area to the moment it actually happened. So definitely some introspection time and some perseverance in order to get your goal, achieve your goal.